Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, yeah, ESPN's computer has come out with record predictions for 2025. This ought to be controversial. Even the computer knew this was going to be a little rough. I think it had a different idea of what it wanted to do.
How about a nice game of chess?
Yeah, it wanted to play chess, but ESPN wanted records, so that's what we're going to do. And SI did a story on this by James Parks. Talks about the predictions, the SEC football records for 2025. We're going to go from worst to first. You knew we were going to start out with Mississippi State. Jeff Levy, he's had a tough time. Look, everybody's had a tough time down there. They don't spend a lot of money. You got Blake Shapen, decent quarterback. There's just not much to say about Mississippi State, honestly. They're number 16, 4-8. That's double the record of what they did last year. They won 2 games, so that's an improvement. Oh, no. Diego's going to be so upset. Vanderbilt, number 15. Well, now, 5-7 is not a bad record for Vandy. Obviously, talks about how this would be a real letdown. Diego's already promised everybody that he's going to rule the roost and that he will dominate the state of Tennessee.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year.
So, but 5-7 is probably about what they're going to be. Diego can play, though. There's no doubt about that. Alabama state champ. Yeah, this is about right. Kentucky, number 14. This is about what I would have expected. They're giving them a 6-6 record, though. That would be a real nice improvement over last year where they were 4-8. Stoops could use a break. I could see him getting to 6 wins. That's probably the ceiling this year. They lost a lot of talent. They brought in Zach Calzada from Incarnate Word, who we don't know. We have no idea whether he's going to be any good or not. But he needs 6 wins to get him bowl eligible, and that would take a lot of heat off of him. 6-6, I could definitely see that with Kentucky. That's kind of their norm over the last several years. They did have a couple of years where they won 10, though. Arkansas, 13th. Oh, this will be, Sam Pittman, 6-6. He might keep his job if they do that. Taylon Green, we know he's a terrific quarterback. Yeah, I would say he'll keep his job just because, look, Arkansas doesn't want to pony up a bunch of dough as a payout. But, you do have Bobby Petrino waiting in the wings as a, future coach. Back to the future, honestly. That's what that is. This would be surprising. Florida, number 12. 6-6 is certainly possible. They have a very, very difficult schedule. They call it college football's toughest schedule. They won 8 games, though, and it's basically the same schedule. Obviously they start out with an easy game. The LIU Sharks. Is that a real team? I don't even know what LIU is. Then South Florida, which is a decent team. Then they got to go to LSU, at Miami, who whooped them last year in the Swamp. Holy crap. Then Texas. Man, that's a tough 3 games. Then oh, man. God, I'd forgotten how tough this schedule is. Then Mississippi State, there's a break. Oh, man, here comes Georgia. At Kentucky. Kentucky's been giving them some grief. At Ole Miss, Tennessee. Ooh, and then Florida State always gives them a game. Folks, this is a tough, tough schedule.
Oh, no. No.
Well, I could see them going 6-6. As long as DJ Lagway stays healthy, they're going to win 8 games. All right, Missouri. Oh, crap. Now, this does not surprise me. Brady Cook heading to the NFL, 7-5. This is probably going to be a pullback year if I had to guess. They've been so good over the last few years with Brady. Talks about all their offensive stars that are leaving. 7-5 wouldn't be that bad, honestly. They've had such a good run, though. We'll see. They've surprised. Oklahoma, boy, this would be disappointing for Brent Venables. 7-5. He'd keep his job because they owe him a ton of money, so at least Tennessee wouldn't have to worry about them coming after Josh Heupel. They're not going to fire him after 7-5 if this, comes out to this. But they brought in John Mateer. That would be hugely disappointing for Oklahoma. They spent a fortune on him, and he's a terrific quarterback. It's just hard to say. 7-5. They're going to be unhappy in Oklahoma if that's the case. South Carolina, number 9. Let's see, 7. Yeah, that'd be disappointing, especially with Lenora Sellers as your quarterback. I guess they're assuming the defense is not going to be as good. Says a lot of Gamecocks' defense is gone. They still have Dylan Stewart, who's terrific. And Lenoris he can darn near carry a team with his ability to run, but 7-5, that's not a bad record. But it would be a disappointment. A lot of people think this is their year to make the playoff. If they're ever going to do it, this would be their year. Because Lenoris will be gone to the NFL after this. He's going to be a first-round pick as long as he stays even, reasonably healthy. Number 8, Auburn. They would not be happy with this. This would be an improvement for Hugh Freeze, though, who's had nothing but losing records. Brought in Jackson Arnold. I don't know about him. He didn't look that great at Oklahoma, but he was a redshirt freshman. Deuce Knight behind him is really the guy. If he starts by the end of the season, starts really showing some flash, they might let Hugh Freeze coach another year, but his payout is like under $10 million, which is not a lot of money in today's college football. 7-5. I don't know if that keeps his job or not. LSU 7th. This would be hugely disappointing for Brian Kelly and the Louisiana folks. 8-4. They're tired of that crap. This would really put a lot of pressure on him.
And we're sitting here again. Talking about the same things.
Wow. 8-4 would be tough for them. They cannot afford to fire Brian Kelly, though. They would owe him a fortune. We're talking Jimbo Fisher money, okay? Jeez, they'd be disappointed with that. 8-4. Here comes Texas A&M. They are the king of 8-4. That's what they're projecting for them. That would be extremely disappointing for them. Marcel Reed, who I think is a terrific quarterback. Mike Elko. Look, speaking of Jimbo Fisher, they paid him $76 million to leave and not coach because they were tired of 8-4.
This man is a coward. Coward. Say it with your chest.
This would be 2 years, 8-4 in a row if this happens. So A&M would be very unhappy, and they spend a ton of money. And especially if Texas has a great year, they're going to be super upset at A&M. Ole Miss, number 5. Let's see here. 8-4. I could definitely see a pullback. Austin Simmons is their quarterback. We're not sure about him. He might be really good. We just don't know. They've spent a lot of money in the portal, so 8-4 is a decent record. Look, normally Ole Miss would love to be 8-4, but under Lane Kiffin, they've been spoiled. He's had a lot of 9-win seasons, and they want to see him in the playoff. 8-4, though, that's very possible. Tennessee, they got them 4th, 9-3 record. That's what a lot of people have been putting them at 8-4 because of the loss of Nico, and it speaks to that here, and the loss of Dylan Sampson. But Tennessee's defense was really good last year. Of course, they won't have James Pierce, but look, their edge and their defensive line is the strength of their defense, and their secondary was good last year, which was the key. When you put that really good defensive line with a good secondary, all of a sudden we were top 10 defense. I believe we finished 5th or 6th. That's probably what they're leaning on, and then they assume that a Josh Heupel offense is going to score regardless who's quarterback. We'll see what Joey Aguilar can do. Hard to say. We just don't know about him. But, we didn't know about Hendon Hooker either. That worked out pretty good. So they got Tennessee at 9-3. That's a computer, so calm down, everybody. Don't freak out on ESPN. Alabama 3rd, 9-3. That would be a big disappointment for them. They are so disappointed in last year, missing the playoff, losing to Oklahoma at the end there, getting beat by Vanderbilt, which was a shock, especially after the way they started by beating Georgia. And 9-3 is not going to cut it because they probably won't get in the playoff. DeBoer will be under a lot of pressure, but this could be a really good team as well. They brought in Ryan Grubb, and that's shake and bake. Yeah. That makes me uncomfortable as a Tennessee fan, seeing those two together. I just don't like that.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
Do you want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup. They might be really good this year. Better keep an eye on them. That's all I'd say. Georgia, number 2. This is no surprise. Record of 10-2. They always win at least 10 games. Gunnar Stockton, there's questions about him. I think he's going to be good. I don't really think you have to be that good at Georgia at quarterback. Just be solid, be like a game manager type guy. And Gunnar can run a little bit. I think he'll be fine. 10 wins, yeah, I could definitely see them getting to at least 10 wins. And they got a pretty tough schedule, as usual. Then you get into Texas. They've got them number 1, 10-2. They've got them as the number 1 team in the country under their regular model. They have spent a fortune, man. I've taken a bunch of grief over that. I keep bringing up the fact they spent, $35 to $40 million bucks on NIL and then revenue sharing. And how dare you say that? Where do you get this information? Well, Houston Chronicle, for one. And then I brought up the fact that Arch Manning's making like $6 million. And they're like, oh, how do you know he makes $6 million? I don't know. I got a little machine called Google. Tells me those things. But they've got him picked number 1. I don't know why Texas gets mad about that. I wish my team was spending $40 million. We were ranked number 1. They don't like it. Don't bring that up. You're doing a whole lot better than before NIL showed up. Remember that? Every year, y'all are very average. Then NIL showed up, and somehow y'all got good. I have no idea how.
Haven't you noticed? You got to be a man to play in my league.
Anyway, I think you're a little too sensitive.
Sensitive.
Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button right there. Won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
Well, come to see a fat old man sometime. Yeah!